Clown in a Cornfield is a new slasher from Eli Craig, the director of Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. And it's about a fading Midwestern town in which Friendo the Clown, a symbol of bygone success, reemerges as a terrifying scourge. In classic slasher style, a group of young teenagers are targeted by him, led by Quinn, the new girl in town. But before we go any further, I want to give a special thank you to the sponsor, BetterHelp. Something I've been very happy to see over the past few years is that people are finally open to talking about therapy. They're being honest about it. They're admitting that it's good for them. The stigma that surrounded therapy or admitting that you're going to therapy when I was younger seems to finally be going away. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, BetterHelp is sponsoring this video, and I'm working with them to stop the stigma around mental health support and encourage more people to get support from a licensed therapist. Therapists listen, ask questions, and help you see things from new perspectives. They can give you advice and techniques to make positive changes in your life, and BetterHelp's mission is to make starting therapy as easy as possible. So if you think you can benefit from speaking with a licensed therapist, click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/Chris Stuckmann to match with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. Using my link also gets you 10% off your first month of therapy. Seeking help in any form, but especially through therapy, is a sign of strength, not a weakness. So check out that link in the description below. That's betterhelp.com/Chris Stuckmann. 10% off your first month of therapy. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video. This movie came out at the perfect time for me because I have been in a slasher mood lately. I've been rewatching a lot of my old favorites and trying to watch new ones I've never seen before. I've even gone way to the bottom of that barrel looking for some of the stuff I've missed over the years just to check off a bunch of movies I've never seen. And a new slasher in theaters coming out right now is exactly the type of movie I get in the mood for whenever it starts to get warmer outside finally, and in Ohio we say goodbye to winter. For the Midwestern states, but especially around my area, the weather is very strange in April and May. It could be winter, it could be rain, it could be thunderstorms, it could be summer, it could be spring. The weather changes constantly, but with it, I always get this renewed urge to want to watch a bunch of my favorite horror movies, and new ones. I said all that to say that I was in the perfect mindset to go see this movie in a theater today. It is going to be coming out on Shudder, but for now it is in theaters, and I encourage you to go see it, especially if you like slashers, because this does feel old school in a lot of ways. There's plenty of aspects you expect to see: a masked killer, a bunch of young kids who are trying to party and have fun while being brutally murdered. Where this movie really picked up for me is a bunch of stuff that I won't spoil for you around the midpoint, where you learn certain things about not just the killer, but the characters who are fleeing from the killer. The film is hiding a lot of really great characterization and doing a good job at it. And it made the last half of the movie exceedingly fun. And it's not to say that I didn't enjoy the first half. I can settle into the slasher vibes we've seen before of a new family moving into a small town and everyone looks at them kind of strange and they get to meet the local kids and they're going to go drink and party, and we've seen it all before. But the cast in this movie, particularly Katie Douglas as Quinn Maybrook, is quite strong. There's a few characters that are supposed to be annoying, and that is something you see oftentimes in a slasher, where you have the characters where you're like, I really want that person to die and make it brutal and awful. And this movie doesn't do that as much, though. A lot of times in slashers, they go way overboard with that, and they make you hate the characters so much that you just can't wait to see them on the chopping block. It's not the case here. These actors are really talented, and there is stuff on the page to make us like them and want to root for them. It is based off of a trilogy of books by Adam Caesar. The biggest challenge this movie faces is the Terrifier franchise. Art the Clown is obviously a juggernaut of slasher history now. People like that guy. People like those movies. I enjoy them for the most part. They're very creative, and obviously a lot of talent goes behind those movies. So you got a clown slasher versus another clown slasher. So obviously this movie has some catching up to do. It's not going to be as iconic in regards to its portrayal of its villain or its kills as what Damien Leone has accomplished with his Terrifier movies. But I do think this movie is trying to make a real effort with its characters to present people who are not only likable but relatable and make us understand them and feel like we are in their shoes. But I also really don't want to play the compare game here. I'm not a big fan of doing that. I think this movie stands on its own 2 feet. Eli Craig directs the horror sequences very well. We have good performances from characters that I actually don't mind seeing alive for an extended period of time. There were people I didn't want to die in the movie, which is not something I can say for every slasher. And as an antagonist, Friendo the Clown has enough presence to warrant potentially more of these. And like I said, there's already a trilogy of books. There is one thing, though, about that clown that I noticed, and that is that his shoes squeak whenever the movie wants them to squeak. He oftentimes appears and his shoes are squeaking and then he kills somebody. But there's a stealth stalking sequence that takes place before that with no squeaking. It felt like they were picking and choosing when they wanted to use that sound effect or not. That was one thing about the movie that stuck out, and that is so minimal. It's the type of thing where, like, not everybody's going to care about that kind of thing. I tend to notice that kind of stuff, but that's just me. This was a really enjoyable one. I do think if you liked Eli Roth's Thanksgiving, this one will be right up your alley. Like I said, it is in theaters right now, so go check it out and maybe we'll see a sequel. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.